Hey everyone, it's Zach. Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to be continuing with the tank setups, specifically my 20-litre Betta tank. For everyone who was wondering, that is the equivalent to a little 5-gallon tank. So let's begin by running through the supplies that I have for this tank. First, I'll be fertilizing the underground with some Osmocote aquatic tablets, my usual go-to root tab. Next, I also have a small bag of planted tank substrate that'll help kickstart our plant's growth. It's a little larger grain that I would like to use, but I can make do with what I have now. For hardscape, I just had this small bit of Mapani wood that'll be doing up later in this video, so make sure you stick around for that. Since it's Australia and the tank's temperatures are usually pretty warm, I wouldn't usually put a heater in until around about winter when it got really cold, but since he's going to be sticking in my room, I will actually be putting one in. I do use my aircon a lot and I want to keep him nice and toasty warm. Finally, I have a small hob filter that I've stacked with lava rock and filter pads. The filter pads will act as a mechanical filtration and remove any imperfections from the water, and the lava rock will have a solid base for our beneficial bacteria to build on, and also help cycle the tank while we go through that. I've also added an intake sponge to make sure my Betta's fins don't get ripped off by the intake, but it should be fine since he's a nice little short fin. Time to jump into the tank and get it all filled. I start by adding a root tab to the middle of the tank. It'll spread the nutrients through the substrate and give our plants a much needed kickstart. Now I can dump the planted substrate all over the top and using just the back of my hand to flatten it down, keeping it nice and consistent. At this stage, I've added some water to fill any air bubbles and make it a bit easier to place my sand in because sand has a tendency to not do what you want. And to cap it off, I've just added a small layer of the same fine sand that I used in the big tank. In hindsight, I didn't actually have that big a layer of sand, so I'll actually be coming back to that when we fill the tank to try and fix it up. So it's time to start prepping our wood. I've started by removing the tag and then using a small amount of super glue, added some Anubias Nana Petite to the right hand side of the wood. To do this, you just need a small dab of glue on the base and then gently hold it onto the wood and then it should set nice and quickly, leaving you with a nice planted log. I then went around and strategically placed some Java moss mats onto the log. This time I added small amounts of glue to the log directly and just held the Java moss onto it until it was attached. You'll find that not all the moss is usually attached when you do this, but it will spread out and attach itself. The hard part has already been done for it. Now I'm going to place this in the center of the tank. I want it to be the focal point, and having it in that way means that my Betta, if he wants to, can actually hide out of sight behind it. I also made a little bit of a test piece a few weeks ago, so I'm going to be throwing that in. I think it's a nice little complement to the main piece. I'm going to jump over to the sink and start preparing my plants now. I bought these crypts from my local fish shop nearby. It comes with rock wool around it and it's usually pretty easy to remove. I just gently tease it out with my tweezers. I also made sure to save this little guy just in case it sprouts out, but after moving the tank over to my room, I needed to start filling it. I'm just using a 2-litre soft drink bottle with holes that I've drilled in the bottom. I converted this over so that the substrate wouldn't go everywhere when I was filling my tanks. It'll help just evenly disperse the water and stop the substrate from going literally everywhere, because that's not a fun time trying to clean it up. I started the planting by adding the crypts to the back of the aquarium. Eventually these will grow large and start to have pups popping up in the back. It'll fit nicely in the space that it's got provided. I just added a little plant in the pot to the front and we'll see how this goes in a few weeks. Here's a quick look at the front. I won't be adding anything else for now, so it will be staying a little barren. Next, I added some Java fern on a rock under the filter. This will stop the sand digging out and look good in a few months. I did have a problem with the filter creating a little hole in the bottom, but doing this has actually fixed it. Finally, I finished the tank by adding some Ludwigia. I'm not exactly sure what type it is, so if you do know, make sure to leave a comment down below. I ended up adding a little bit more sand to try and help plant it and get it rooted, so that should hopefully keep it in, we shall see. With this tank, I'm actually going to be leaving it for about a month to cycle. As the filter media is uncycled, I will be doing a fishless cycle. I'm not the biggest fan of fish in cycles, and then in doing so also gives me an awesome amount of time to try and choose the perfect Betta. After 4 weeks, the tank was fully cycled and it was ready to add our special little guy. I found this awesome koi placat Betta at my local fish shop and immediately fell in love with him. It was also partially up to my girlfriend. She managed to talk me into buying him, and I'm very glad that I did. He has some sweet red, black, and blue patterns on him that will hopefully come out a little bit more in the future. After acclimating him for a little while, he was ready to be added into his awesome new home. So this is the tank fully set up. I will be back to have a look at this little guy's tank in a few months, so keep an eye out for that video soon. If you like this setup video, make sure you leave a like, and if you want to see how the tank has progressed or more tank setups, make sure you subscribe. I'll be back soon with another video, so keep an eye out for that. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Until next time, Bye.